In my 15 years as a high school English teacher, I've marked thousands of cause and effect essays. And now that my credentials are out of the way, let's dive right in as I give you the 4 things every cause and effect essay needs, as well as 3 tips to make sure it's 100%. Let's go. Here's the 4 things, or the 4-step process you need for a cause and effect thesis. The first 2 actually go together, and it's easier just to talk about, which is topic and argument. The topic really answers the question, well, what's the essay about? And the argument is, well, what are you going to say, argue, prove? Topics can be anything. It's pretty obvious. You know, things like Instagram, high school education, Fortnite, AI. And with that topic, the first thing I've got to tell you is that it is not your thesis. The reason is topics by themselves are far too broad. For example, imagine I took Instagram. Well, you can't write about Instagram because there's so much you can argue or talk about, such as its negative impact on teenagers, how the algorithm maximizes engagement, the fact that it's an image-based social media platform means that there's superficiality and narcissism, there's too much influencer marketing. So what you've got to do is you've got to attach an argument to it. And this leads into my first tip, is that the topic and argument together must be both defensible and debatable. So what I mean by that is, imagine I took a topic, Instagram, and an argument that it has a negative impact on teenagers. In order to be defensible, it means that you can have arguments or evidence in support of your argument. For example, you could say things like, Instagram ultimately leads to cyberbullying, there's addiction issues, it's ultimate waste of time, and you can defend your topic and argument. Ultimately as well, is people can debate against you, that your argument can be attacked. People could say, whoa, hold up. Instagram isn't negative, it's actually really positive. You're able to make friends, develop hobbies, and learn new skills. It makes sure that your topic and argument is really good, really interesting, and sets you up for the next 2 things that your cause and effect thesis ultimately needs. The next thing we gotta figure out is we have to put our cause and effect elements into the thesis itself. Before we get moving, let's do a quick review of what cause and effect ultimately is. Cause and effect ultimately looks at why something happened and the results. If you're looking at causes, you're really asking a why question. Why did this event happen? And if you're looking at effects, you're trying to answer the question, what? What was the results? Let's take an example of an event, going to college. If we look at the causes of that, why did someone choose this college or university? You could look at different whys, such as maybe the cost or the location or the program. There are different reasons, different whys as to why somebody chose a specific college. And if we take a look at the effects of it, well, what was the result of choosing that college? You could look at things like, for example, a specific friend group that people had, or a degree that they ultimately graduated with, or maybe some job opportunities that they got as a result. So cause and effect looks at why something happened, the causes, or what happened as a result, the effects. And now that that's done, let's keep moving. So we've got our 3 things so far. We've got our topic, argument, and now we have causes and effects. Why does Instagram have a negative impact on teenagers? Well, look at these causes. Things like infinite scrolling, algorithms, targeted advertising, notifications, like and follower accounts ultimately cause Instagram to have a negative impact on teenagers. What's the result? What are the effects? Well, that ultimately leads to self-esteem issues, cyberbullying, addiction, lower face-to-face interactions, lower grades. And this now leads me into my second tip. When you're writing a cause and effect thesis, choose either cause or effect, never both. The reason is if you choose both, your writing will get too convoluted and it will be too challenging. It's a lot simpler to write cause or effect, not cause and effect. So never both. So this leads us into the 4th thing our thesis ultimately needs. We need a verb or modifying phrase. This is what will ultimately create a good cause-effect thesis. The ones under causes, is caused by, result of, gave or gives rise to, led to, leads to, is attributed to, is rooted in. There are also really good verbs and phrases that deal with effects, such as led to, be produced by, because of, due to, consequently. You may have noticed that led to and leads to is kind of under both. Sometimes there's overlap. You can use verbs and phrases for causes or effects. And if you don't like the ones here, you can simply do a Google search for cause, effect, verbs, and phrases, and you'll get a whole laundry list of ideas. So now we have the 4 things that we need for a good cause-effect thesis. We've got our topic, our argument, the causes and effects, and a good verb and phrase. We're not going to choose causes, and effects, our tip number 2 says choose either or, so let's just go with causes. So now we have Instagram has negative impact on teenagers, infinite scrolling, algorithms, and targeted advertising. Because most papers in high school will require usually like 3 subtopics or 3 body paragraphs, let's just choose 3. And the verb phrase I'm gonna use is results in. Here's what we've got. Instagram's infinite scrolling, algorithms, and targeted advertising results in Instagram having a negative impact on teenagers. If you found value in this video, click the subscribe button below. It would be the highlight of my teaching career. Thanks, and let's dive back in. We could have used a different verb or phrase. Instagram's infinite scrolling, algorithms, and targeted advertising causes or leads to. So again, the verb or phrase ultimately doesn't matter. You can choose whichever one you want. This leads us to tip number 3. Ultimately, the order of those 4 things does not matter. If you think I missed any tips or have some to add, please leave a comment down below. You can move things around as you want. You can see here I've got all these different color combinations on the screen. So here's our first example. We could start with the verb phrase, then we go to the topic, cause and effect, and our argument. As a result of Instagram's infinite scrolling, algorithms, and targeted advertising, the platform has a negative impact on teenagers. Another example we could go to is starting with the cause and effect. Infinite scrolling, algorithms, and targeted advertising results in Instagram having a negative impact on teenagers. We could move around the topic, the verb or phrase, plus the argument and still start with causes and effects. Infinite scrolling, algorithms, and targeted advertising on Instagram results in a negative impact on teenagers. And there you have it. Your A+ thesis is done. If you simply follow those 4 steps, you are going to have an A+ thesis every single time. I can guarantee you of that. If this video has helped you get over your struggles with cause and effect thesis statements, then you might want some other help as well. If so, click the link right over here where I show you 6 tips that'll help your writing. Take care and see you in the next one.